Okay.
Okay. Man, this show is just so nerve-wracking. Well, anyway. Another episode of Your Father's Sci-Fi Show. We don't have a we'll figure out a topic at the end of the show.
Yeah, well, we'll name the show after we get done talking about whatever it is we're going to talk about.
Talk about some things.
Yeah, a couple of random things I think we want to do. You wanted to mention something about the last episode that we did, and then I think we're going to actually maybe touch on the new Star Wars Episode 9.
Star Wars, the last one.
Yeah, I don't know which I'm more happy about, the fact that it's going to be, finally there's one coming out, or that it's going to be the last one. I'm really not sure which I'm more happy about at this point.
Anyway, yeah, back to Machine Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Frank was discussing computers programming.
Right.
Don't have emotions, or they don't have motivations, and that's odd for right now. But
yeah,
people are programmers, engineers. They are working on developing that type of technology for machines.
Sure, yeah, and
I think it's always 20 years down the road.
Yeah, I mean that's a reasonable thing. I mean, I still hold with my, there's no incentive for my laptop to try to take over the world, but but that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that somewhere down the road that I mean, it's an interesting premise, but I'm not really sure that it's actually something that they can do.
And I wanted to address the emotions as far as things. I mean, a lot of this is, we don't have a hard, definitive answers or definitions for intelligence, emotions, conscience.
Right, yeah.
I mean, pinning it down is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it like this. What is an emotion? It's a response to internal or external stimuli.
Yeah.
And it's very useful as nonverbal communication. It's very useful for social animals.
Right. Yeah.
When there is no language, people's reactions. Somebody acts surprised. You see something that somebody acting surprised. You know how they feel, and you're curious what's caused this surprise.
Right. Yeah.
Groups of people don't have a language yet. Emotions are that language until written language.
But see, here's my question on that. Now, if I happen to be, adept at programming, which I'm not, I think I've written one computer program in my entire life, and that was like 30 years ago. And how much a geek I am, that was a dice rolling program. You type in how many sides the dice has and how many times you want to roll it, and it spits the numbers out. And I'm even embarrassed that I mentioned that. But I mean, if I'm programming a computer, or I'm programming, say I'm programming a robot, and I go, okay, this is, going back to the if-then thing. If this happens, then this is how I want it to respond.
Right.
Then that's really not like, if for instance, if I go, okay, my team makes a touchdown, my response is I'm happy. So I want the robot to be happy, but the robot's not responding. He's not happy they made a touchdown, because he's happy.
Right.
He's happy that there was a touchdown.
And I see that point.
And so you'd have to. So I think where it would, you would almost have to have a randomizing something or another, so that you give the robot a list of things that it can do and go, okay, well, I'm going to laugh at this, and I'm going to be offended by this, or I'm not going to care about this, or whatever.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's famous options.
Yeah. Terminator. Yes, no, I don't know, I don't care. Go.
You asshole.
Fly a kite. Yeah, I mean, exactly. But an option to do,
but they're working on developing software that does learn.
Yeah.
And I think machine intelligence or machine emotions may not be how we think of emotions or experience emotions.
Sure.
But I think it's something they're working toward. I think they do want to make them so that we can interact with them in this kind of way. They're working on building us robotic pets.
Yeah, that's
something. I mean, they got a little robot that looks like something came out of Wall-E. It's a little thing with a little scoop, a shovel on the end of it. And it's supposed to interact with you somehow. But does it really feel anything? Of course, I don't think so.
I don't think it does.
But
I don't think it's gonna. I don't. I could tell Alexa to call me. God of Thunder, and I don't think Alexis is gonna feel any different about me.
Right, that's true.
Really don't.
But later on down the road, we
oh yeah, down the road, who knows? There may. We never know when there's going to be something. One of those moments when science just kind of goes, oh wow, boom, and then it jumps.
But again, I don't think they're going to kill us off.
Yeah, I don't.
Not like something a smart, intelligent entity would do, even if it is 20,000 times smarter than us.
Yeah. Well, again, I think it comes to motivation.
Like, hey, we just made the spaceship and we're leaving.
Yeah.
We're going to colonize the asteroid belt because there's more stuff out there for us to build with.
Well, I actually did when I was not to interrupt you, Paul, and I apologize for that, but when we were discussing it, and Frank was talking about powering down and this, that, and the other, it actually, after I saw the episode, after we got that one in the can, it occurred to me that there was actually a book I read a number of years ago called The Werewolf Principle. And basically what it was, the main character was what they referred to in the book as an open-ended android. And they were trying to, it was an android that had a human form. It was an android that had what essentially was a werewolf persona that was actually a member of the race that they were trying to find information about. And then the third version that he was able to go into was basically computer form, where he could go into geometric shapes. And it was actually funny because in the book, it actually went into standby mode. It went, tired of dealing with these people. It became a pyramid and sat there for 300 years and didn't talk to nobody. It was like,
wouldn't that be a great option to have?
Yeah, wouldn't it though? It could be like, wait, sorry, put myself in a 300-year timeout when
you're not my president, so I'm just gonna shut down.
Oh God, that would be great.
Wake up 4 years.
Then we can collect all of them and put them away.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, but it was funny because I hadn't thought of it while we were actually doing the filming of that, and I just thought it was kind of neat. And I was like, oh man, because when we were discussing what was our favorite sci-fi and this, that, and the other, I completely forgot about The Werewolf Principle, and that was just
right. I never heard.
It was to me. Oh, it's an awesome book. And like I said, it basically, and the thing is that it's got like the human, because when they basically they could program, each molecule of this artificial life form.
Right.
And they actually took a human mind and impressed the human mind on the human part of it. So there's actually a part in the book where the guy had like 4 questions. He had some questions. So that if anybody ever showed up and said, well, I'm that guy, blah, 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 if they couldn't answer those questions, then they knew it wasn't him.
Right.
And so that was kind of cool. And then the creature that they did, they were, they basically, and understanding that the book was written at the time, they didn't know about DNA, but basically the other creature's argument was, well, you took me apart cell by cell, to do this. And I really didn't like that. But I think if you get the time, I really recommend you get that book and read it, because it's kind of cool.
No shit, it's on Amazon.
Yeah, it's
You get a Kindle, you just don't even buy books anymore.
Really, I know. I got a tablet.
Publishing industry.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it. Well, no, not really pirated. Now I have a tablet.
The book industry you kill.
Yeah. Well, I don't think.
Except the big.
There's something nice about having a library. I think there's something nice about having.
Yes.
You can actually pull the books out.
Something nice about the smell of a notebook.
Yeah. Yeah. But and you don't get that when you're reading, like when I'm reading off my tablet. I don't. But I have the majority of.
Maybe that come out.
Yeah. I have the majority of the Jim Butcher Dresden Files in digital format. You know, I have some of the books, and then some of them I've given to people and said you should read these and that. But
I know if you told me when I was a kid that I could have a small, real small thing,
yeah,
that I could just purchase books on it whenever I wanted to,
yeah,
and have it immediately, I'd be like,
yeah,
what?
yeah. Well, I mean, again, you know, but that's how the technology evolves. I mean, you look at this medium that we're doing here.
Right.
You know, you're in one state, I'm in another state. We're having a conversation
At the same time.
face to face. You know, yeah, and it's being recorded. And it's going to be edited down, and it's going to go on to something where a whole bunch of other people can watch it. And you know, 50 years ago,
Next.
talking about, man. Yeah, 50 years ago we set up party lines. You know, this is your ring, okay? When it one long, one short, that's your ring. The two shorts are mine, okay? So I don't know. But,
it's interesting how in science fiction they'll try to predict new technology and whatnot, and then there's so much that's even more fascinating that never gets predicted. I'm just remembering all the science fiction that I've read since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember anybody envisioning the internet.
No.
There's been some things that have been close, but that was when bulletin boards had just started popping up.
Yeah.
It was like the late 80s, I believe.
Yeah.
I've never had anything where, like, you know, you don't see this in Star Trek in the TOS era, or even in any of them, even all the way up the Enterprise. There was no mention of social media.
Yeah. And I think, I forget whether, was that during a show or was that during a regular conversation we had when I was the episode where Troy was trying to find out some information, and I was like, essentially she's trying to use a search engine.
Right.
You know, and it's like, it seems to me that they would, you know, based off of our current history, they should know what a search engine is.
Right. But of course they didn't.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, yeah. I mean, but again, when they were doing Enterprise, you know, I remember there were, you know, there were bulletin boards. That's what there were. They were just, you know, I would call your computer would call mine.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they were plotting to take over or anything, but you know, but
yeah, I think War Games was a movie. The guy who did Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
Isn't that the right one I'm thinking of?
Yeah, that's the
movie. That was the first.
Where he actually called the Whopper, and
the first time I had seen an internet.
Yeah.
As far as modems and things like that.
The only thing I couldn't figure out is when they were in when they're actually at, you know, the Cheyenne Mountain facility, and they're jumping through their hopes, and he's talking to the computer. You know, he set the computer up so he could hear it speak at his house. Yet somehow or another they could hear him talk at Cheyenne Mountain when they hadn't done that. But I think it's one of those minor things in the movie that I just kind of go, okay, whatever. Just walk on with it. But
in the 90s, I mean, we were served together in the 90s. We were using an internet.
Yeah.
Cams.
Yeah.
And putting information in a database, and it was being sent out to somewhere else. And this was before. The actual internet.
Yeah, I remember.
So I want to thank Al Gore for creating the military internet.
Yes.
I don't want to thank you. I want to curse you because that was.
I'm upset with Al Gore because, you know, damn it, here we are. We are, you know, we're 6 years removed from our polar ice caps being completely gone, and I miss them. Damn it, I miss them. And we should have done something to protect our polar ice caps. I'm just saying that, you know.
So we were using the internet before you guys were. It was like a TRS-80 screen, just monochrome green, no graphics, plain text.
And if you knew the terminal ID of something else, you could actually send them a little one-line message.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
that was painful. So yes, Star Wars 9, The Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
This would be the ghost of Luke.
Well, I see.
Rising into the air.
I've only seen the teaser.
That's what I've seen too. And
you hear Luke's voice, but I think that what they're going to try to, I think what they're going to do, which is it's going to be like no surprise, I think. And again, it's a speculation. I mean, we're going to be like everybody else. We're going to be like the guy that bragged about the pod racing flags, how important that's going to be. Whatever. But I think that we're going to find out that Rey is a Skywalker. I don't think that's going to be a big surprise. I think the only way that they can probably surprise people is to find out that, she's actually was put together the same way that Anakin was, and she's like the dark side. She'll turn evil and,
well,
make Ben Kenobi her bootlicker.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said she's gonna wind up being evil. She's gonna be like ultimate evil, and she's gonna make Ben Kenobi, Ren Kylo, her bootlicker.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, Luke handed the asses to some speeder bikes in Jedi, so now she's got to hand the ass to Kylo Ren in the TIE Fighter.
Sure.
Nah, you've got to outdo that.
I don't think it was a big surprise to see the gloves, and it's like, well, we know it's not Darth Vader.
Yeah, well, it's probably going to be the end of the movie, and they're going to have this big fight, and they're probably going to find out that they're equally matched, that they can't get a thing on top of them. They just can't beat each other. They can't.
Right.
It's got the advantage, and it's going to be this huge 20-minute fight of all these visual effects, and then they're going to get tired, and then it's going to be a moment where they look at each other, and then they're just going to embrace and start kissing. That's what I want.
Which is kind of twisted because I think that Rey is a Skywalker, so that's going to be like cousin.
That'd be a little bit disturbing, maybe. Maybe she's a third cousin,
twice removed or something. I don't know, but
Shmi Skywalker was a slave, and she.
Yeah.
Who knows? She could have some other children.
Now, one thing I do want to say.
Grandchildren.
And you help me out here because you watch the teaser and you hear Palpatine laughing, and then I was on social media a little bit earlier today, and J.J. Abrams is like, yes, Palpatine's coming back.
Yeah.
Okay, that guy, I didn't really like him. I really didn't.
Or Palpatine.
Oh, in this instance, Palpatine. But no, I mean, Vader picks him up, he throws him over, and he's getting hit with his own electrical field.
Right, he should be dead.
He's falling hundreds of stories. I think he was still falling when the Death Star exploded.
Probably was. It would have been a funny scene to see him.
Oh, this sucks. It can't get worse. Yeah.
Wasn't that in a movie? Some guys were falling and they just got tired of screaming.
Oh God! What? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I think it was, or
yes.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, one of the two. Yeah, I think it might have been Bogus Journey. They fell and it's like they just kept screaming. It's like, wow, that's a long way down. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to have to be for me, it's going to have to be a really good reason why Palpatine is alive. It's going to have to, it can't be this weak.
Well, there was a graphic novel called Dark Empire where they brought him back to life too, because when he was falling down into the shaft, his soul came out and was one with the Force and just went off into the other clone bodies that he had secreted away on another planet. So, I mean, they can come up with anything.
Wow.
That's what they did in the graphic novel of Dark Empire.
Yeah, see, kind of. Wow. How do I? So that means Mace Windu's running around somewhere, right? Because all that happened to him was he went out a window.
They like to hide. I got my ass kicked. I'm gonna go hide now.
Go hide.
Nobody can find me.
Yoda did it. Obi-Wan did it. Mace Windu did it. Luke Skywalker did it.
He didn't even have his ass handed to him. Luke didn't have his ass handed to him. He just said, "I'm tired." Well, I guess my students rebelled against me. Oh, I'm quitting.
Well, I don't know.
I'm a failure. I can't teach shit. I'm gone. I'm out of here.
Well,
I'm going to leave the map in segments so you can put them together and figure out where I'm at if
But-
you need me. But then I'm not going to help you.
Right. Yeah. They don't want to be a jerk when you come here, see now,
Who come up with this?
I think what the problem is that there's there's a diversion, a division in like 4, 5, and 6, what Lucas was doing versus what's doing now. I don't think I'm alone in the idea that I think that a lot of Star Wars fans, they're right up there with a lot of the Star Trek fans, and they're looking like, here's your new product for this franchise, and they're going, look, I'm not able to connect the dots between these two, and until I can, I'm not going to like it.
I don't really know.
But I mean, I think if they're going to bring Palpatine back, I think it's really great that we're going to be able to see, Mace Windu. That'd be awesome. Come back in. What's in your wallet, mother? It's like
You just dropped in.
yeah, just or maybe Mace Windu is still falling. Who knows?
Maybe he's still falling.
Maybe he's still falling. I don't know. I mean, because if you try not to think about it, because if you do, you're just going to go, wait a minute.
Well, that's the thing. Mace fell, and he just fell through the planet, and then fell back through the planet, and then fell back through the planet.
So he just constantly falling back
and forth. He's like, okay.
Well, see, I mean, and for me, I mean, when you look at that scene,
Here we go again.
when you look at that scene, he goes out. He didn't fall nearly as far.
No.
As what Anakin did when Anakin just jumped off the building and was like, eventually there's going to be a vehicle I'm going to land in.
Yeah, I mean, he jumped out of a speeder and went, and then landed in the speeder and caught his lightsaber.
Yeah. So,
Mace Windu can't just, be a much more
Mace
stronger
Windu
than
can't do that.
At the time, just can't shake it off and land on the
Can't
ledge.
fall 30 feet, land on your feet. What the hell?
Hey, wow, that was a charge.
Hey, I'm in a room with poison gas. I can hold my breath for 20 minutes and fight.
Yeah.
Can't fall 12 stories.
Ah.
Oh man. I don't know. I do try to see what they're going to try to do with this. It's going to be interesting to see it, and I'm sort of torn whether I want to like shell out the money to go catch it in the theater or whether I just want to wait until it comes out on Blu-ray. It's because it's like, it's like $15 to get in the theater. It's like $100 for like a small Coke and a candy bar, and I can just buy the Blu-ray for like $29.95.
Which mic are you using?
What?
Which mic are you using?
I think I'm using the mic off my computer. Yeah, out me, man. This thing's just a prop now, okay?
I didn't know you still kind of.
Yeah.
Fading out. It's weird.
Sorry. I can change mics. Let's see what I can get here.
Camera?
Yeah, no, this is the one on the camera.
That's better.
Oh, okay. Well, I tried to do that earlier, and I sounded like Donald Duck, on helium. Yeah. So, okay, this one sounds better. Great. That's terrific. But, we did try to use that before. You said I sounded like,
That was weird.
I was on helium or something.
But anyway, since we're breaking in from the edit that I just took out of this video, I'll probably see it because I got a son that's 14. He'll probably want to go see it.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be. I think for the modern fans of the franchise, it's going to be fine. I mean, but I can't. I don't know. I can't. I'm sort of happy. In a weird way, I'm sort of happy that it is going to be the last movie because I think it's time. I think it's finally time they just put another nail in the coffin and just be done with it.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the things that they've done with the franchise, that's not been. I don't think it's been in keeping with what Lucas had envisioned. I really don't.
I think there's way too much stuff in it that doesn't need to be in it.
Well, they're bringing back Lando Calrissian, and maybe they'll do it like they did it in the Force Awakens, where he's on a big giant cargo ship.
Yeah.
And then they pull in the Millennium Falcon. He's like, "Hey, I got my ship back."
Yeah.
He'll come in with the robot.
Yeah.
Just like Han came in with.
Yeah. I think it's great that he's back, and
This is my ship. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, I can speculate some things on that, but I don't see the need in doing it. But I mean, it's good. It's going to be good to see Lando back in. It's going to be, I think that, from the very, 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 very brief, that you see Carrie Fisher with the CGI thing, I think, that's a good homage, I think. I think it's just going to depend on how they play it,
Well, I think it'll do well in the theater. I think there's going to be a lot of people going to go see it, regardless of how.
Yeah. Right. They're going to go. Well, I mean, I think I think people are going to go see it because they love the franchise as it is now. There are going to be people that are going to go see it because it's the last one, and there are people that are going to go see it because they've seen every one that there is in theaters. Right.
And everybody who hates it has to see it so they can review it and talk shit about it.
Sure. Yeah, right. So that they can sit there and say about how they could have done a better job and this, that, and the other. And it's like, yeah, whatever. And I hope, like I do with all movies, especially sequels, I really, really hope that they've spent some time and worked on a good script. I really do. It's so frustrating to me. My perennial argument is you got a $300 million CGI budget and you got a $20 script budget.
It makes me wonder, because when I watched Solo, I don't know if anybody noticed this. They had a robot with, like a female, a female type personality, and this robot was advocating droid rights. Remember, if you saw them?
I actually haven't seen it. He's
advocating droid rights and causes a riot with the droid so they can escape from the Kessel mine to get out of there.
Sure. Yeah.
Shot. So what they do to this droid that has been advocating for droid rights, they enslave her in the Millennium Falcon.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
you go back to
that C-3PO can remark later on that the ship has a funny dialect.
I don't think it's worth it.
Well done.
It's another one of those. It's another one of those things that we're running into in too many movies where, here's our little, SJW checkbox we've got to check off. We go back to the last movie. Hey, we've got to go on this hypercritical mission to get somebody that is going to help save the entire rebellion. But wait, let's take a moment to go over here and free some animals that are going to be recaptured in about 20 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Destroyed the town too with these.
Yeah. Sure. Let's just
damage to buildings and.
Sure.
Because
private property theft. Private property destruction.
Environmental hazard landed on the beach. That can't be. That's not where you're supposed to land. Well, they didn't think about that, did they? I mean,
well, I think
got a spacecraft with radiation and all kinds of exotic fuels and whatnot, and on the beach where the water's going to come in, and you're polluting the ground and the sea.
Sure.
In that area, but at least
I'm sure somebody in one of those hotels didn't pay for a view of an old ship. They wanted to look out over the water, but I think it's one of the things that too many SJW issues go into is the fact that they have their agenda and they completely miss the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You're not, and to see that in shows and see it in movies and see it to be,
and then have no payoff.
Yeah, and there'd be nothing. It just,
Oh, you did all this, and then what happened? It didn't work.
Well, it's like you look at the recent episode of Orville, And I really truly think that the council was going to allow the settlement to become, a member of the union. I really do. I truly believe that's where it was going. And then to me, Admiral Halsey stands up and throws them under the bus.
Yeah.
Well, wait, now here's a compromise. Well, wait, now hold on. If everybody's in agreement, there's no reason to have a compromise.
Yeah.
If me, you, and 15 other people agree that we're going to go out to Taco Bell for lunch, there's no reason for somebody to stand up and go, okay, wait here, hold on. Let's have a compromise. We won't go to Taco Bell, but we'll go to a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They missed this point too. I just thought of it.
Yeah.
They're worried about the Mocklins leaving.
Yeah.
But they've already purchased Mocklin weapons.
Sure.
So they have a stockpile of Mocklin weapons.
Sure.
Well, goodbye. We still got your weapons, and hey, guess what? We can figure out how they work.
Exactly. Well,
make better versions of them.
But I think it's also a short-sightedness on their
call
part.
Us for help? Yeah. Well, you're on your own.
Well, I think Mercer made a great point on that. Going, you know what? I don't think that the what the hell, Kalons. I don't think the Kalons are, they're going to walk right past you. They're going to destroy Mocklin, and there's still going to be a Mocklin race, and it's still going to be a single-sex race.
Yeah, I like it.
I love that part, and that right there to me is what made it was what was going to make it a 26-1 vote.
Yeah.
I really do, and I really think that here's the thing, and it's sort of like, I mean, if you go back to the Gulf War that we were in, there was a coalition of countries, and those countries all didn't agree on everything, but those countries agreed that this was a mutual enemy. So this is what we've got to do.
Yeah.
And I think that in the long run, the Mocklins would have done the same thing. The Mocklin government would have gone, you know what?
Right.
We're not gonna stand on our own.
Yeah. Are we really worried about these females?
Yeah.
On the planet?
Well, right. It's
planet.
are we worried about the females on the planet because these artificial life forms are going to wipe out all biological life in the universe? Right. Well, we're biological beings. Does anybody really think they're going to let us, let's go back to, oh gosh, let's set the Wayback Machine to the original Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
If you've ever watched the actual movie of that, in the movie they bring Baltar in front of the Supreme Leader, and they go, hey, we told you we were going to kill all the humans. And he's like, you don't mean me. Yeah. And he's standing there incredulously in disbelief as they chop his head off. And they're like, what did you think we meant?
Right.
That we want to kill all humans. And that's, they did it in the pilot, and then they changed it so that he could be a recurring character.
Right.
Because they reshot it, so he's like, well, hey, I will help hunt the rest of them down. And they were like, okay.
Yeah.
That's something that, if you have a group of artificial life forms and they want to wipe out the biologicals, they're not going to discriminate between them. They're not going to care. Yes, you helped us, but you're still going to die.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to a lot of things in modern society today, is that there are people in this country that want to help this one group, even though this one group has said, we're going to kill you.
Yeah, that's true.
And these people truly think that, well, they don't mean me.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise, they will. They do, but I really, though, circling back around to the Orville, I really think that, I don't know, I think Ed made a very, very, very good point, and I think that Admiral Halsey threw him under the bus. I really do. And, I posted that on social media for a fan site for Orville, and I haven't had a chance to go through and read some of the stuff, but I'm sure people are going to disagree with me, and that's great. I don't have a problem with people disagreeing with me.
I like it too. You said, well, what are we fighting for then?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What are we, what are we doing?
This is not help them out. Then what then?
Yeah. Why are we together? Why are we in this room? And again, I think that's why, in my mind, it was going to be, we're going to let them join.
Now, I was almost thinking they were going to make it where the Mocklin females were even more badass than the Mocklin males, and that's why the Mocklin males got rid of them, because they were constantly handing them their.
Yeah, well, of course, I don't,
That would have been funny though.
I think it's
like,
well, see, it's a weird thing to me anyway that it's, that you.
We had to get rid of them.
Yeah. It's like they're bad. They're more badass than we are. We got to get rid of them.
You think we're bad?
But I don't know. I think one of the surprising things to me is that, and it was great writing, and I really thought it was cute that she was quoting, Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
But I think that a critical thing that she told Mercer when they were on the planet was something that should have been said in front of the council.
Right.
Is that the birth of a female on this planet is not an infrequent thing. It is a lot more prevalent than what you think it is and what you're being told it is. So, but I think, I really think that, all things considered, that, Bortus's mate is he's a bitch. And
I made that point up.
Bortus should kill him. I mean,
I made that point up. It seems like everybody who's been forced to have the sex change is a miserable bitch.
Right. And but see, here's my thing.
Bitch. Clyden's a miserable bitch.
Right. And that's my question there. And really, that's my question. Why would Clyden, is that his name, Clyden?
Clyden, yeah.
Yeah. Why would Clyden take that position? Having been born a female and changed into a male.
Right.
Why would he take the position that he took? And that just, that to me doesn't make sense. And if you extrapolate the numbers of people that had that surgery forced on them, then that should be enough numbers to go, to start affecting diplomatically. Should have, politically.
You think? I think it was a gag at first. In the first episode, it may have been just a gag, but they built on it.
Right. Yeah, which is great. And they handled the only people.
Lay the egg?
Yeah. No, it's Bortus.
Do both sexes lay the egg?
Well, there's only one sex, so obviously. Yeah, but then that would raise the question to me. If Clyden used to be a female and now Clyden is a male, can Clyden lay the egg? Or
do the males lay the egg?
Yeah, but I think Bortus laid the egg.
But wouldn't the ability to lay the egg make you a female?
Well, no, not really, because if you look at like it was seahorses, the males are the ones that bear the children.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's so as far as that aspect of there being another race, but then I go back to some of the races in Star Trek, how unrealistic they were, how and I'm not sure if we covered that in a
because I can't remember in the episodes if Bortus was the one who laid the egg or if it was Clyden. I just assumed it was Clyden.
Yeah, it might have been Clyden. I don't know. Which would then kind of lead one to go, then why would they develop two sexes? Because then you'd have to do some kind of research. It's like, he was a female that had a surgery that made him a male. So is it only the females that are actually having the eggs?
Yeah.
In which case you've got to go, hang on, but so it's.
Well, they probably just had it where they were all male and they all just laid eggs. And
right, yeah, but I think
brought in that the baby egg was a female, and
then and then they made him
planned out. I don't know how well they did the world building on that.
I see. It harkens back to an episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation, where they visited a planet where the entire race was androgynous, and to acknowledge that you preferred a sex, one sex over the other was criminal. And they did a little bit of that. There was actually an episode of the Orville they did the same thing, where they had a visiting scientist, and he preferred women, he preferred females, over males, and that was a huge issue. But I think as far as the world building on it goes, it's some of those things just aren't thought through properly. You look at Star Trek, the episode of Next Generation Darmok, where the race speaks in allegory. Darmok on the water, Darmok and Jalad and Tanagra. And that's I mean, it's fascinating. Don't get me wrong. It's really fascinating. But how do you teach that? How do you teach allegorical speech if you don't have a way to explain to somebody, Darmok was this guy. When he was on the water, he was, this, this is how he felt. This is what was going on when the walls fell. This is why this guy's eyes are red. That means he's angry. And so, the whole allegorical language to me falls short in world building. It just does. But I think, I don't know. I think McFarlane did a little bit better job with Mocklins, because there's things that come up that's like, okay, this makes sense. Okay, this makes sense. Okay, this makes sense. It's
very complex, but it is well done.
Absolutely.
I got these questions, but they're real tiny, insignificant questions. I mean,
it's not like glaring holes and stuff that you see in some stuff. It's
great episodes. It's great writing.
But I think the thing is that McFarlane did a really smart thing, and like there was a guy on social media that was like, I'm really loving the Orville, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, do you realize how many people that worked on Star Trek are working on, I mean, seriously, do you know how many of those
I'm watching it like,
working it?
Who's that woman who's that teacher in the classroom?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I mean, it was Deanna Troi.
And that episode actually was directed by Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, and he directs Discovery as well.
Yeah, he's done a couple of things. There's actually, I think there may have been an episode. Patrick Duncan McNeil, I think, from Voyager, actually directed a couple of them too.
I think so.
I'm not sure about the top. I always get his name wrong. I always do. Somebody in the comments down here is going to go, it's not his name yet. Whatever. Sorry.
Paris.
Yeah, Tom Paris. But yeah, I think it was very, very smart of him to go to these people to get help. I think it really was, and that's why in an earlier episode of this show I said, Orville has out Star Trek.
Yeah, I think it's a step.
Better. I see what he's doing, and I see where the direction that he's going, and I really, really like it. And I think
and I don't mean better in comparing to Discovery, because I'm not watching that, but better even compared to Voyager. And I don't think Voyager's a bad. It wasn't a bad show.
To me, well, there were some very, very good episodes of Voyager.
They're all, you get all these episodes, you have to do bad ones.
You're gonna have
them all.
But I think for me that just the character of Janeway, for being so grossly unlucky enough to wind up in the Delta Quadrant, like, this woman has more luck than James Kirk. Seriously, and I've said that before in different venues where it's just like, the woman has an incredible amount of luck rolling. I don't know, ask somebody that plays role playing games, man, what's her freaking luck? Her luck's got to be at 99. It really does. It's like, you're surrounded by the Borg. You have no weapons. Your phasers are dead. The only thing you have is a paperclip.
And you're going to stand there like this and tell them how it is.
And the Borg surrender. And the Borg surrender. It's like, what?
She's raising her voice, sir. What do we do? Surrender.
Surrender. And then of course there's the joke and
it's the Voyager warship. We're all gonna die.
And then of course you have the old joke and people were like, oh yeah, and that's my joke, is like how misogynistic Voyager was, that it's just its first female captain, her ship's named after a minivan, and the first thing that happens is she gets lost. And then of course you say that online and you open yourself up to all kinds of people, and they're like, oh, the Voyager came out long after the down. It's a joke, okay? It was a joke. I didn't say it was a good joke. I just said it was a joke, okay? But yeah, I mean, it just that. But again, to have some of the luck that she had, you just got to go, wow, man, that's just,
I liked it when they let her get her hair down. When she got rid of the school marm bun thing. Like, it took some years off of you.
I mean, and it's actually, gosh, I wish I could remember her name off the top of my head, but there was, they actually had a couple of different other actresses that were supposed to play Janeway. And one of them, it's actually in the first episode, you see the actual, drawing blanks on names. You see her, but then like when they reaches over and pushes something on the console, that's actually the original actress that was cast. They just never reshot that scene, so it's like,
the woman with the French name.
Yeah. But it was, I mean, it's, but you look at that and I mean, you wonder what the series would have been like if she'd actually been involved in it and stayed with it. Or you look at like, what would happen if Jeremy, or Jeffrey Hunter had stayed with Star Trek, or, you wonder about those things. You wonder how the shows would have turned out.
Yeah, I think a little bit different. Like some of the stuff I've read about the way Nimoy portrayed Spock in The Cage, where because he was reacting against Jeffrey Hunter. Jeffrey Hunter was more stoic. And Spock decided to smile at the flowers. Yeah. But of course, that got kind of switched around when Shatner.
When Shatner came in, and I think it was. I mean, there were some other things in the original series that, like, originally Spock was supposed to be red.
Right.
So you got a devil running around on TV helping. That'll go over great in the '60s.
Well, he's from Vulcan.
Yeah, well,
it's hot there.
It would make sense, but I don't know. Yeah, but and
it wouldn't show up good in black and white. That was what the issue was.
Yeah, there's one thing I've noticed about, or that I've learned about a lot of the old black and white television shows and even the old black and white movies, is that if you actually saw the colors of the stuff,
right,
you would be surprised because they knew this shows up like this in
they
black
want high contrast colors.
Yeah, and like there was a Jekyll and Hyde movie, and it was really awesome because it was filmed in black and white, and they had done some makeup on the character, and they used red paint to do the Mr. Hyde makeup, and they shined a green light on him during the Dr. Jekyll part. And then they transitioned, they were slowly turned that light off and turned a red light, or I'm sorry, it was red, so you couldn't see. So the red one first. So that's what he looked like. So you couldn't see. And then as they transitioned the lights, it was like, you could then, when they transitioned to a green light, then you could actually see the Jekyll makeup. And it was such an awesome thing, but it was one of those things that you couldn't possibly do in color.
No. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's the production type stuff. I mean, even
understanding how the light works.
Yeah, but I mean, like you look at Psycho, not a science fiction show, but when they were doing the blood in the drain thing, they tried every different formula of, Hollywood blood, and it didn't show up. They used chocolate syrup, and it's like
something dark.
Okay, so. But yeah, it's just, to me, and I like those type of things. But I'm a big practical effects kind of guy, and I think it's why I'm so anti-CGI. I love the original Planet of the Apes because the makeup was great. I don't like the new ones because it's, they're wearing these halos, and it, in post they change their faces into, computer generated apes. But
they can do some amazing stuff. Practically. I think Jurassic Park was a mixture of both practical and CGI.
Yeah. Well, I think it's what made it
so well together. It's like I remember the movie first came out, it just blew everybody away.
Yeah.
Wow, these dinosaurs look like they are real and they're really there.
Yeah. and I think that it stands up. I think if you watch it now, you still go, that's a real freaking dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's not something, it's not something that looks hokey, you know, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years.
Right.
Later.
That's an achievement in itself, because there's some stuff that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
the Christmas.
And that's.
Yeah. Well, Tom Hanks was in the Christmas movie.
Yeah.
With the train, where the character is in an uncanny valley, and they all look creepy and horrible. You should have made him a little bit more cartoonish, just to make him.
Yeah. Well, there was. What was it? There was a.
They're almost human.
Yeah, Beowulf, I think, did the same thing. There was a movie called Beowulf, and it was done. It was sort of like a combination of rotoscope and CGI. Right. But it look. I mean, you look at it and you go, well, it's not really a real person.
What was this?
You know, but it was. It was the whole thing was a fantasy type thing anyway. But
I'm thinking of American Werewolf in London. I mean, those effects blew me away.
Man, yes, yes.
I'm like, how they do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's turned it into a paw. Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's and it was really the effects in that were just phenomenal, man. Mm-hmm. And of course you had you had Robert Picardo, was playing the villain in that one. The Doctor off of Voyager. See how he tied that together? Wow. But, but yeah, I mean, and I sort of like that too, because it was, even in the part of the movie where it's like, I want to give you a piece of my brain, and he literally sticks his fingers in his head and pulls out a piece of brain and hands it to him. I'm like, that's,
The Thing had a lot of that too.
Mm-hmm.
I got it on DVD. All right. Yeah. It's got a lot of good effects on it. Some of it was shot, I think, in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
When it's moving forward, it's actually they're pulling it backwards. Some scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that that's another wonderful thing about practical effects is how you do something.
Right.
And I've seen
so much good effects in it. The guy's gonna do was bump his heart. It just becomes a mouth and bites his arms off. That's a short story I read several years ago that was written called The Things, and it was written from the perspective of the thing.
Ah,
and it's great. It's the same story from its perspective. It's like,
yeah. See, I do like those kind of stories. I mean, I do like those kind of stories because they do give a little bit of a flip of an idea on
right.
On something.
Yeah, look for that.
But is it overly creative to do that? Well, it takes some genius to do it. But
you got to get into the alien's mind and what it's trying to do, and
yeah, but I mean, it's
freaked out by humans.
Sure. Yeah, I woke up on this planet. It's freaking freezing, and all these guys are trying to kill me.
Right.
What the hell? Well, that's our show. Your father's sci-fi show, the longest 15 minutes on the internet. If you like the show, give us a thumbs up. If you don't, give us a thumbs down. If you're really feeling frisky, click on the subscribe button. And hey, be sure to tell us how drunk you are in the comments.
Please, yeah, or we can get drunk.
I go to the bar. I'll rent my coat.
Can't we try? I drink Diet Coke. It never works.
I drink water. I couldn't tell you how much water I've drank. I'm still so.
We used to could. We were drinking beer and whiskey, not together.
Sometimes, yeah, we do.
All right.
I've been drinking bourbon, whiskey, scotch and gin.
All right, I do have to pause. I did to pause right here, and I apologize for that, Paul. I've got her blocked in. I've got to get the car out of the way and let her.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we probably should stop soon anyway because we're over an hour.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're having fun.
Yeah, we'll come back and.
All right, I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right, man.
Oh yes, of course. Interruptions. There's not supposed to be any dead air in here, so what can I do to fill the time while Scott's moving his car? You know, the ceiling could use a fresh spray of blood, but other than that, I don't feel like doing that. Let's see. Oh, how you doing? Huh? Yeah, I know. I got this zit on my face. Crap. It, well, if you're bored, I'm bored. How about a song? Anybody up for a song? I think I could probably belt one out for you. Something everybody knows. I'm burning, I'm burning, I'm burning for you. Do, 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 do. I'm burning, I'm burning, I'm burning for you. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do.
It's the staring game. I can't even do the staring game against the computer.
Couldn't have done that if I wanted to.
No.